Coming up on today's San Francisco 49ers Report by Chat Sports, in the aftermath of the Brandon Aiyuk trade request, what does all of this mean for Deebo Samuel and his future with the Niners organization? Before we take a look at that, let's first take a gander at our July sub-battle with a couple of rival teams and channels right here inside the walls of Chat Sports. Hate the Dallas Cowboys. I hate the Dallas Cowboys report. They've picked up 238 subscribers since July 1. 49ers report, 17 subscribers behind the Cowboys report. We could change that with this video alone. Hit that sub button right now. The good news is, ladies and gentlemen, we are dominating Seattle Seahawks today, the biggest rival inside the NFC West for San Francisco. Seahawks today has picked up 155 new subscribers since the turn of the calendar month. Hit that sub button today for informative, insightful, entertaining Niners content, which comes your way every single day year-round and involves you, the faithful. The obvious starting point on today's show. If the 49ers are without Brandon Aiyuk to start training camp, Deebo Samuel becomes the number one wide receiver like he was during the 2021 campaign when he was a first-team All-Pro, and down the stretch there as the Niners were making that crazy playoff run. After starting the season 3-5, he put the offense on his back. He strapped on the backpack. He carried this squad, and anytime the Niners needed a big play, they turned to number 19. As a receiver, as a running back, it was one of the most dynamic seasons for a weapon that I can remember in recent memory for a player in the National Football League. Ideally, of course, you keep this 1-2 punch of Aiyuk and Deebo together. It's one of the best wide receiver duos in the National Football League. On the outside, you have Aiyuk, who has great footwork, great route runner, who's dynamic and picking up yards after the catch. Last year, he emerged as an All-Pro and a terrific deep threat for Brock Purdy. He found success analytically on every single route in the route tree. He's a traditional outside wideout who can beat any type of coverage. Deebo, on the other hand, not the route runner or the outside wide receiver that Aiyuk is, but is a great complement to Aiyuk. He's more of an inside guy. He can be utilized as a gadget weapon. He's a home run threat. Anytime he gets his hands on the pill, you can use him as a running back. You can use him on jet sweeps, bubble screens, handoffs, end arounds. And if he catches a ball with real estate in front of him, as Kyle Shanahan's offenses, since he got hired in 2017, first in yak created with yards after the catch, Deebo, a big reason why he leads all receivers in yards after the catch since coming into the league in 2019 is Shanahan's offense, but also the emergence of Aiyuk takes the attention off of Deebo, and he is just the classic home run hitter who is breathtaking to watch. Whether he's running away from defenders or running through defenders, he is truly one of one. And look at what these two players have done the last 2 years. Aiyuk is the younger player who's been more durable and more productive, but Deebo, it's not like he's been a slouch. Aiyuk the last 2 years, 33 games played, 219 targets, 153 catches, 2,300 plus yards, 15.4 yards per catch, and 15 total touchdowns. Deebo, fewer targets in fewer games, 28 to Aiyuk's 33. Catches, also fewer, 153 to 116. Deebo has 1,500 plus yards. Yards per catch at 13.1, but 17 total touchdowns as he's really used as that chess piece in this offense. And when he's off the field, this Niners team is not the same. Now, going back to that question that I posed to start the program here, what does the future hold for Deebo? He has no more guaranteed money left on his deal following the 2024 season. $15.1 million is the dead money charge, though, if the Niners cut or trade him pre-June 1 next offseason. And Deebo admitted the Niners were looking to potentially trade him. They were taking calls and fielding offers on a Deebo trade because they knew that Brandon Aiyuk was due this deal, and Deebo admitted the trade talks were real this offseason. So next offseason, it could get to a point where one of these wide receivers is no longer with this team. Now, if the Niners move on from Brandon Aiyuk and not Deebo, there is a bigger and greater likelihood that Deebo stays around. those chances increase. And then you probably have a receiver room of Deebo, Ricky Pearsall, and Jawan Jennings as your top three. Now, as part of this, is there that chance that Aiyuk and Deebo remain together on the same team, with Deebo playing under the current construct of his deal and Aiyuk landing that contract extension? A lot of people like to say, you can't pay two wide receivers $25+ million. The landscape of the NFL has changed. You actually can. The Miami Dolphins are doing that. They're paying two wideouts $25+ million, and Tyreek Hill, the vertical speed threat, as the cheetah, and then Jalen Waddle. Tyreek Hill's making $30 million per year. Jalen Waddle, $28.25. A team who the Niners are now rivals with, Philadelphia Eagles, doing the same thing. A.J. Brown's making $32 million per season. Devontae Smith is making $25 million average annual value. Deebo's right around 24. Aiyuk could get anywhere from 26 to 30, depending on which side budges. So there is a chance that the Niners could pay both of those receivers, and the Dolphins are soon going to pay Tua Tagovailoa, I would imagine, and the Eagles are giving Jalen Hurts $51 million per year. And yeah, I know that Brock Purdy, if he plays like he did in 2023, he's going to be due a lucrative contract extension as well. Look at this list of highest paid wide receivers. You have A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith on it. You have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle on it. The Detroit Lions, they're not paying two wide receivers all that much money, but they're paying a lot of weapons on that team, a lot of cash, so it can be done. As for the aforementioned Brock Purdy, we have to monitor his situation here. The extension that he inevitably is going to get is going to impact the cap. And here's a look at what Purdy did during the 2023 season. He was terrific. The fact that he was not included in ESPN's top 10 list of quarterbacks going into 2024 is wild. His agent reached out to me and said, Chase, thanks for sticking up for Brock. I said, anytime, because the real ones know he's elite. He was third in passing touchdowns, despite having a pass rate that's 32nd in the NFL. Yards per attempt, number one by a big margin at 9.6. He has a noodle arm, Chase. Oh, really? Because his deep ball completion rate was number one, and his deep ball catchable rate was number one. How about when the pressure is on? Pressure completion percentage, 63%. Red zone completion rate. When the bullets are flying, the field gets condensed, and the game is moving quicker, it slows down for Purdy. Number two there. True passer rating, QBR, EPA, number one. And he was able to have this success despite his receiver target separation being 14th in the NFL. So if Brock Purdy does that again, he's going to get a bag. And some people are going to say, well, I think that Purdy's going to take a hometown discount. I don't think he's going to do that. Crazy state taxes in California, and he's been one of the biggest bargains in the NFL as Mr. Irrelevant, making under $1 million each year has been in the NFL so far. He's going to want to make up for that. And you look at the highest paid quarterbacks per year list, Purdy is going to be on this, again, if he performs like he did last year. Now, Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL. He's tied for ninth now. I imagine the Chiefs at some point soon are going to restructure that contract to make him a higher paid quarterback. But you have Joe Burrow at 55, Trevor Lawrence at 55, Jared Goff at 53, Justin Herbert at 52.5, Lamar Jackson at 52, Jalen Hurts at 51, Kyler Murray at 46, Deshaun Watson at 46. That contract has been a blunder. Kirk Cousins at 45, and then the aforementioned Mahomes there at 45 as well. Purdy's going to be on this list in due time. The Niners cap situation looking forward. In 2025, they're actually nearly $39 million over the cap. That is 30th in the NFL. But right now, they do have $31.4 million in cap space. That is 6th. And you can roll over some of that money to kind of ease the pain. Contract extensions, contract restructures, trades, cuts, another avenue, and avenues to free up some money on the cap. There's also another avenue to keeping Deebo and Aiyuk together. You give Deebo another contract extension. This offseason, I've liked what I've seen from Deebo. He seemed like a motivated man. He looks to be in better shape. And maybe the selection of Ricky Pearsall really kicked himself into gear. I think back to that Pearsall pick, It was a contingency plan of sorts for the Niners at the receiver spot. They knew that Deebo had no guaranteed money following this upcoming season. They knew that Aiyuk could potentially get a new contract, so they envisioned that maybe they'd be without one of those wide receivers looking forward, which is why they took Pearsall with the 31st pick. Deebo this offseason, he's looked great. He's looked motivated, especially coming off the Super Bowl in which he did not perform well. He got shut down. As we've seen in the receiver documentary, he was certainly banged up, but he's slimmer. He's going to be rocking the number 1. And it's always good to see a player of this caliber motivated. He's reaching 22 miles per hour on the assault treadmill. I was running the other day on the assault treadmill at like 12 to 15 miles per hour. And I'm like, he's at 22 with ease. That's wild. We know what Deebo is capable of, but since signing that contract extension, it's been a little bit of a disappointment because the production has been down and he's been banged up in each of the last 2 years. Hopefully that's not because of him wearing down as a player because of the physicality, but throughout his career, injuries have been a little bit of a concern, but hopefully this year in 2024, we see that Deebo from 2021, when even if he only had 77 catches, 18.2 yards per catch, and then, of course, very dynamic as a ball carrier, 59 carries for 6.2 yards per carry. Before we hop on out of here, make sure you give me a follow on X and Instagram at Chase_Senior. I put out a bunch of Niners short-form content on those social media pages, and I look forward to hearing from you.